Ladies and gentlemen, power over others begins with power over yourself. The man who is ruled by impulse, emotion, Marcus Aurelius said, or the need for validation will always chase beg, but the man who governs himself, his thoughts, his habits, and his desires, becomes a force women naturally respect, desire, and follow. Power over others starts with discipline over your mind, desires, and emotions. Marcus Aurelius said, a man who has not mastered himself is like a ship without a rudder, tossed around by external forces. Marcus Aurelius said, constantly seeking direction from the outside world rather within, when your emotions control you. Marcus Aurelius said, when your thoughts run wild without order, you ultimately manipulated and ultimately powerless. Marcus Aurelius said, true strength is quiet, rooted in self-governance. It doesn't chase. It simply is. Marcus Aurelius said, and from that being flows influence that doesn't need demanded or negotiated. The modern world is full of distractions that pumenway themselves, cravings for attention, validation, sex, money. Marcus Aurelius said, and status constantly call for your energy, but indulging in every desire makes you a slave to them. Aurelius said, when a man is always reacting to a woman's need to be liked, to the fear of being alone, he becomes easy to rule and to replace. In contrast, Marcus Aurelius said, the man who observes his impulses and chooses when to becomes a rare presence. His restraint is not weakness. Marcus Aurelius said, it's power under control. Women don't test your debility. They are not always conscious of this. Marcus Aurelius said, but they naturally challenge a man's center. Not but to whether or not he can hold his ground. Marcus Aurelius said, can you stay composed when she is distant? Can you remain calm his emotional when she pulls away? Marcus Aurelius said, or when she tries to assert dominance. If your peace depends on her behavior, she holds the power. Marcus Aurelius said, but if your peace is unshaken regardless of how you hold it. Discipline over the mind means you filter your thoughts. Marcus Aurelius said, you don't dwell on fears, insecurities, or for your mind to stay focused on what you can control. Aurelius said, you don't chase outcomes. You refine your process. The array reward and flash in the short term, but in the long run. Marcus Aurelius said, it bows to clarity, consistency, and character. Emotional discipline, likewise, means you feel everything but are ruled by nothing. Marcus Aurelius said, you can love deeply, but never at the cost of your interplay. You can want her, but not abandon yourself to have her. Marcus Aurelius said, this level of self-command doesn't come overnight. It requires daily awareness, reflection, and sometimes discomfort. Marcus Aurelius said, but once it is developed, no one can give it to you, no one can take it away. It becomes your edge in every area of life, especially with women. Marcus Aurelius said, because while others are seeking to gain control, manipulation, or noise, you gain influence through silence. Marcus Aurelius said, certainty and the unwavering calm of a man who needs to feel complete. That kind of man, Marcus Aurelius said, women don't just notice, they remember. Remaining calm under pressure makes you appear stronger, more attractive, and untouchable. Marcus Aurelius said, in a world where most people are quick to voices, showing frustration, Marcus Aurelius said, or folding under emotional tension, the man who's immediately stands out. His calmness signals something deeper, more control, confidence, and certainty. Emotional control is not about numb or indifferent. Marcus Aurelius said, it's about being fully present in a storm and yet move it. That stillness, that quiet power, draws people in. Marcus Aurelius said, especially women, because emotional control does you from chaos. It makes you the calm eye within it. When emotions rise, most men lose themselves. They regret, chase when they should walk away, or withdraw into silence not from strength, but fear. Marcus Aurelius said, a man who cannot manage his emotional state abusive to others. But a man who can feel jealousy, anger, or reject said, and still act with poise, becomes rare and rejected. Women notice this. They test this. Marcus Aurelius said, sometimes without knowing why, they push emotional buttons nor you, but to see if you can hold steady. Marcus Aurelius said, not because they want to fight, but because they want to feel secure in your strength. Marcus Aurelius said, emotional control doesn't mean hiding your feeding them lead. It's one thing to be angry. Marcus Aurelius said, it's another to lash out. It's one thing to feel hurt. It's another to beg, cry, or argue from a place of weakness. Marcus Aurelius said, the calm man feels everything, but expresses only when it serves a purpose. That discipline shows maturity. It shows that he is guided by principle, not mood. In relationships, Marcus Aurelius said, emotional control allows a man to create trust with saying a word. When a woman knows you won't break down during conflict, Marcus Aurelius said, when she sees that you don't need to win every argument, when you can listen without reacting defensively, she feels safer. Marcus Aurelius said, not because you are passive, but because you are steady. That steadiness is deeply attractive. Marcus Aurelius said, it's not just about looking cool. It's about being of a radiation she lean on when life becomes uncertain. Marcus Aurelius said, a man with emotional control becomes harder to manipulate. He can't be tripped, provoked into jealousy. Marcus Aurelius said, or baited into chasing when disrespected. His power does not need to respond to everything. He lets others speak, act, even provoke, and he chooses silence or action, not from weakness but from clarity. Marcus Aurelius said, this type of man doesn't get drawn into drama. He says and others adjust to him. That's true influence, when you can remain calm in the face of chaos, rejection, or challenge. Marcus Aurelius said, your demon sense of worth is not eternal validation. That is rare. That is powerful. And that, more than charm or looks or money, becomes magnetic. Marcus Aurelius said, because emotional control is not just self-mastery, it's the signal that you are complete. Marcus Aurelius said, and nothing outside of you has the power to break you. Focus your mission, not on impressing women. Marcus Aurelius said, purpose creates natural gravitation. When a man is rooted in something larger than himself, when his life has direction. Marcus Aurelius said, when he wakes up with fire in his chest for some building, he becomes undeniably attractive. Marcus Aurelius said, not because he's trying to be, but because women are instinctively drawn to clarity, vision, and drive. Marcus, a purpose gives a man weight. It gives him presence, anchors him so he's hunted drift into emotional dependency or insecurity. Marcus Aurelius said, the man who knows where he's going never chases, he invites. Marcus Aurelius said, many men lose their power because they make women the center of their lives. They base their decisions, their emotions, and even their identity on how a woman perceives them. Marcus Aurelius said, they think the key to attraction is constantly those to be liked. But when you seek approval, Marcus Aurelius said, you place someone else above you. You tell the world you don't see yourself as enough without validation. Marcus Aurelius said, that's not attractive. That's neediness. Disquest isn't built on trying to impress. Marcus Aurelius said, it's built on being impressive by simply doing mean to do. Purpose frees you from that trap. Marcus Aurelius said, when your time is occupied with goals, values, your limits, you have less energy to overthink, over-pursue, or overgive. You naturally be available, not as a strategy, but because your focus is elsewhere. Marcus Aurelius said, and ironically that's when women become more intrigued. People want to be around those who are going somewhere. Marcus Aurelius said, a man on a mission doesn't beg for attention. He has ambition, his discipline. Marcus Aurelius said, and his self-respect all speak louder than any line or purpose could. Living with purpose also sets standards. Marcus Aurelius said, it defines what you will and won't tolerate. If a woman comes your life and tries to steer you off your path, Aurelius said, you don't fold. You stay the course. You welcome her walk beside you, but you don't stop walking. And if she walks away, Marcus Aurelius said, you let her go. That inner strength, that unwavering direction, is not only respectable, it's magnetic, Marcus Aurelius said, because it shows that your happiness isn't outsworn within. Purpose makes you resilient, Marcus Aurelius said. It gives your life meaning beyond fleeting immovable. It helps you recover from rejection, disappointment, Marcus Aurelius said, or even heartbreak, because you're not defined else's interest in you. You're defined by what you're building, Marcus Aurelius said, by the man you're becoming. Women respect that. Even they test you, even if they challenge you, Marcus Aurelius said. Deep down they admire the man who cannot be pulled off his path by flattery or temptation. When you lead with purpose, everything else aligns. Confidence grows, standards rise, your presence becomes grounded, Marcus Aurelius said, and your energy becomes magnetic. Not because you're chasing, but because you're becoming. And in that becoming, Aurelius said, you stop needing to impress, because your life for readers be rare, not always available. Let absence speak where words fail, Marcus Aurelius said. In a time where constant access is expected, we're always responding, always seeking connection, Marcus Aurelius said. Rarity has become power. The more available you are, you're taken for granted. It's human nature, Aurelius said. What is easy to get is rarely respected. What is easy is rarely desired. But what is rare, what is scarce, Aurelius said, immediately becomes more valuable, not because it is better by nature, but because people instinctively chase what feels limited. This principle applies deeply in relationships, especially in how men interact with women. Marcus Aurelius said, many men think that being always available, always saying yes, will win her attention or love, Marcus Aurelius said, but that kind of constant presence erodes mystery. It removes signals a man who has little going on, who prioritizes her above his own life, whom waiting is not attractive. It speaks of dependency, not confidence. Marcus Aurelius said, on the other hand, the man who is present on terms, who communicates intentionally, Marcus Aurelius said, who disappears to build and returns without apparent gravity. He makes others wonder, not because he plays games, Marcus Aurelius said, but because he is genuinely focused on things that more validation. Absence is not about manipulation, Marcus Aurelius said. It's about creating space for others to feel your value. When you are always there, your presence becomes the background noise, Marcus Aurelius said. But when you step back, when you disappear into your mix, creates a void. That void makes others reflect. Marcus Aurelius said, it gives them the opportunity to miss you, to appreciate your presence when it returns. You don't need to explain yourself, Marcus Aurelius said. You let your absence say what your words never could. That you are no desperate, not dependent, and certainly not chasing. Marcus Aurelius said, this scarcity has to be authentic. If you pretend to be unavailable while secretly watching your phone, Marcus Aurelius said, the energy will still give you away. But when you are immersed in your purpose, when you guard your time and energy, when your attention is earned rather than freely given it, women feel it, and they respect it. They lean in, Marcus Aurelius said. They become curious. They start to wonder where your focus lies. That curiosity is powerful. It shifts the dynamic. Marcus Aurelius said, you are no longer seeking her approval. She is seeking attention. Rare doesn't mean being distant, cold, or unfeeling. Marcus Aurelius said, it means you understand your value. It means you are anyone. It means you move with intention. You speak when there is something worth saying, Marcus Aurelius said. And you show up when it aligns with your standards vision, not because you need someone to notice you, Marcus Aurelius said. That mindset makes you magnetic. Because while inbox validation, you become the man who doesn't chase, Marcus Aurelius said, doesn't beg, and yet somehow remains unforgettable, a trick. It's a reflection of self-worth. Marcus Aurelius said, and when it's real, it doesn't repel, it pulls. Want her, but don't need her. True power comes from detachment, Marcus Aurelius said, not desperation. Desire is natural. It's human to be drawn to a woman's beauty, energy, or presence, Marcus Aurelius said. But the difference between attraction and a man who desires a woman from a place of holiness, Aurelius said, from a place of inner abundance, approaches her with fear. He knows that he wants, but he also knows he'll be fine without it. Marcus Aurelius said that detachment is strength. It signals to her that his happiness isn't on the line, that he remains complete, regardless of who stays or walks away. Desperation, on the other hand, is the death of desire. The moment you need her to like you, Marcus Aurelius said, to respond, to stay, you've already given your poor way. You cheat from leading to performing. You overinvest, overtext, overanalyze. You trade your standards for her validation. And the irony is, the more you try to hold on, the more she slips away, Marcus Aurelius said, because people, especially women, are repelled by a refi. I caught okay without you. It creates pressure, not passion. It suffocates what could have been playful and naturally flowing. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care, Marcus Aurelius said. It means you care in the right proportion. You can enjoy without needing her to fill a void in you, Marcus Aurelius said. When your sense of identity is rooted in your sense, you move differently. You don't chase, Marcus Aurelius said. You attract. You don't fear loss because you've built your own peace. That stability becomes magnetic, Marcus Aurelius said. It shows that you want her, but only if she adds to your life. Note completes it. Women are not looking to be controlled, Aurelius said. They're looking to feel secure in a man's direction. But direction is not barking orders. It's moving with stock and clarity, Marcus Aurelius said. When a man walks into a room and doesn't need attention, when he speaks purpose rather than to fill silence, Marcus Aurelius said. When he can listen more than he speaks, his praise magnetic. It's the kind of presence that makes others feel calmer, Marcus Aurelius said, more certain and subtly drawn in. He doesn't chase tension, it fins him. And when it comes to women, Marcus Aurelius said, that energy is far more attractive than flashy caviar. Many men confuse control with strength. Marcus Aurelius said, they think that to lead, they must dominate, dictamulate. But forced control always breaks down. It creates resistance, not respect. Women may comply for a while, but they never feel truly connected under pressure. Real leadership allows space. It inspires, not demands. Marcus Aurelius said, a man who leads with presence doesn't try to change a woman. He embodies what she would naturally want to follow. Marcus Aurelius said, his actions are aligned with his words. He doesn't threaten and doesn't seek to intimidate. His boundaries are clear and he enforces them without drama. This type of presence comes from self-respect and inner calm. Marcus Aurelius said, it's built through discipline, through knowing yourself deeply, through facing failure and not being shaken by it. Marcus Aurelius said, it's the quiet kind of strength that doesn't need validation. When a woman senses that, Marcus Aurelius said, she doesn't feel the need to push against him. She's safe often to follow, to relax. Not because she's weak, Aurelius said, but because his steadiness gives her permission to trust. Leading with praise also means you're not emotionally reactive, Marcus Aurelius said. You don't escalate tension, you diffuse it. You guide a conversation, a relationship, or even a room. Marcus Aurelius said, when things go wrong, you don't panic. When you're tested, you don't flinch. That kind of calm certainty is incredibly rare and incredibly powerful. Marcus Aurelius said, it communicates without speaking that you are Rishan, not the storm. In a relationship, Marcus Aurelius said, it's the man who stays grounded under pressures, who acts instead of talks, who becomes irreplaceable. Because where others control, The simply is control. Marcus Aurelius said, his presence isn't just seen, it's felt. And woman experiences that kind of leadership. Marcus Aurelius said, it's hard for her to settle for anything less. So in the end, power any woman doesn't come from games, manipulation, Marcus Aurelius said, or control. It comes from mastering yourself, from standing in your purpose, commanding your emotions, Marcus Aurelius said, and moving through life with quiet certainty. He who leads first never needs to chase approval. Marcus Aurelius said, because his energy speaks louder than words ever could. He desired not because he begs to be chosen. Marcus Aurelius said, but because he is whole with or without being hewn. Not for her, but for you. And when you are, Marcus Aurelius said, the right women will follow, not out of fear or need, but out of respect and admiration.